Hey guys, I saw The Hunger Games last night and I've read the book, and if you want to see my book review, it's here somewhere, maybe an annotation, or if it's not, it's in the doobly-doo. I'll be comparing it with the book a little bit, but this is mainly a movie review. Let's get started. So it's a long ass movie, 2.5 hours long, and it's very faithful to the book, which is both a good and a bad thing, I think. And it's actually more faithful than the Harry Potter book movie adaptations. And I was pleasantly surprised that they added those little details like Katniss and Gale making fun of the accents of the capital, even though they didn't really have accents. And Prim not being able to tuck her shirt in at the back. It's like a book fan's dream. And it's sort of a bad thing because the pacing of the book and the movie are similar. The first half of the book is really slow. I remember reading the first half of the book and being like, when are they going to kill each other already? And that's how the movie is also. And I was hoping they would improve in the movie. But then I found myself going, okay, move this along, please. Let's get to the actual Hunger Games. But they really wanted to please the fans with the movie adaptation. For those who think that the book is more graphic than the movie, not by much actually, not by much, because a lot of the violence, a lot of the killings in the book happen off screen because Katniss is trying to get away from everything. In the movie they try to show more, but the camera is shaky and then it's close up and you have no idea what the hell's going on, and it's PG-13. What do you expect? But at least they included blood, which I'm glad about. And there are some people who would argue that it's not about the killings, we're not supposed to like the killings, it's about the politics. But the politics make no sense. That concept of the Hunger Games still makes no sense to me after reading 3 books. I'm sorry. Call me stupid or whatever. But President Snow and President Snow's followers are blaming Katniss for being too inspirational and causing uprisings in the other districts. But they should really be kicking themselves in the face because the Hunger Games makes people like Katniss thrive and be heroes. And how President Snow was talking about a little bit of hope is good. No, if you're an evil dystopian leader, or if I would crush the idea of hope, and the word hope wouldn't even be in people's vocabulary. That's how you rule an evil world. And it's surprising that it took 74 Hunger Games for people to start uprising. Hello? I didn't really like the CGI effects when Katniss and Peeta, their clothes are on fire. It looked like the fakest shit in the world. And the mutts, in the book, the mutts are like half wolf, half human, and they're actually zombie versions of the people who died in the Hunger Games. And that is scary. I mean, of course, they can't really show Katniss' inner monologue talking about how these people are the ones that have been killed, but then I would have preferred it if they were wolves that could walk, because that is nightmare inducing. But instead in the movie it's ugly CGI giant pit bulls basically. Let's talk about our main hero, Katniss. And Jennifer Lawrence does a wonderful job of Katniss, and I felt like she was a little bit too cold and not showing too much emotion. I know that Katniss is cold in the book, but in the book Katniss at least tries to be pleasing when she does the interview, but then in the movie her interview, she tries, but then she's still that like one emotional range. But I think movie version Katniss makes more sense, because it didn't really make sense in the book how Katniss was able to be bubbly and happy during the interviews. But in the third book, Mockingjay, when she's told to act like a badass in front of camera, which she can do naturally, she doesn't deliver well. Consistency. Movie Katniss wins a bit. But unfortunately, the relationship with Rue and Katniss, you don't really care about it. And I actually, oh my god, I'm gonna get hated by a lot of fans, but I didn't really care about it in the book either. Oh. But then I thought about it. I mean, I know it's better explained in the book that Katniss sees Rue as Prim because they're about the same age, and then she becomes all maternal because that's like her little sister. And I didn't really understand what was Rue's intention, like why was she was attaching herself to Katniss, and in the movie it seemed like Rue was more interested in Katniss than the other way around. And I realized it's because of survival, because Rue doesn't know how to kill people and Katniss does. So that kind of makes sense. So Rue was sort of kind of using Katniss, kind of like Katniss was using Peeta. Oh, poor Peeta. Let's talk about Peeta. Josh Hutcherson, he plays a really great Peeta. Except like during the interviews, it seems like it was cringe. Okay, I just contradicted myself. It was a bit cringe-worthy how he was trying too hard to be charming. I know he's upping it to get sponsors, and he does that in the book, but in the book it's natural. He doesn't have to try too hard. In the movie it's like, stop. When Peeta was talking to Katniss in the cave, and I don't remember if he said this in the book, but he told her in the movie that he has been following her from school to home every single day. He lost some cute points. Okay, because I can just imagine Peeta with binoculars 2 blocks away, because if he gets any closer, since Katniss is a hunter, she can detect him. So he has to be like 2 blocks away with binoculars being all like, Katniss! Creepy! There wasn't enough emphasis on the fact that in the Hunger Games, the prize is to get food for your district, because the number one cause of death in District 12 at least is starvation. And then they didn't show too much of like people starving to death, or I mean not starving to death, but the need for or the lack of food in the districts, which would have been like one of the most important points to focus on, instead of the freaking beauty fire dress pageant thing. That's my complaint. The book is in first person, so we're just following Katniss throughout the book. And in the movie, there's no narration from the character Katniss, but that's okay because we are shown scenes that sort of fill in the gap of what would be explained to us by Katniss. Like Haymitch talking to the sponsors and giving her leg medicine, and the reporters explaining what tracker jackers are. I like that part of the movie. If you love the book, I think you will really like the movie. And if you haven't if you haven't read the book, then I don't know what would you think about this movie. I had a friend who has never read the book, and she thought this was awesome. And even though the movie was long, she really enjoyed it. Like, she liked that Katniss was a strong female character, and that the relationship between Peeta and Katniss is ambiguous because you don't know Katniss's true feelings at this point. I would prefer the book because a book starts out slow, but then I know it's going to lead up somewhere interesting. I will stick with the book. But then if it's a movie and it starts really slow and then it doesn't, even though I know it's gonna end up somewhere interesting, like, I just don't care. And if I hadn't read the book, I don't think I would have liked the movie as much. The best compliment that I can give this movie, or this entire series, is that at least it's not Twilight. And Haymitch in the movie looks like Kurt Cobain.